Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha Om Gunatito Aksharam Brahma Bhagavan Purushottamaha Jano Janandidam Satyam Uchyate Bhavabandanat Om Shri Swaminarayanaya Namaha Shri Hari Krishna Maharajaya Namaha Shri Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to SwaminarayanSpirituality.com and the series of recordings and talks on Shri Vachanamrut. We are continuing our exploration on Vachanamrutam by the grace of the Supreme Lord and all the sages. This is a scripture that is originally in Gujarati and has considerable intersecting, interlinking, interconnected aspects to it, which has come from the life and the realization of Sajanand Swami. So whatever is being spoken here, whatever is being written in the Vachanamrut, or has been written in the Vachanamrut, is coming from the life and the teaching of Sajanand Swami Maharaj. And this is a scripture, or this is a shastra that that has a phenomenal, tremendous synchronicity with the entire Sanatana Dharma. It is an extract. It is the quintessence of all the scriptures. This is its glory. So Bhagavad Gita is 700 verses. Srimad Bhagavatam is 18,000 verses. Vyasa Sutra is 555 verses. There are 18 Puranas. Vayu Puran, Skanda Puran, Shiv Puran, Devi Puran. Then there are the Upanishads, 108 Upanishads. Then there is the minor Upanishads. There is an oceanic amount of scriptures in the Sanatana Dharma, and all the commentaries. The commentaries by the great Acharyas on the Vyasa Sutra, on the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, as well as on the Upanishads. So the commentaries written on these three, the Bhagavad Gita, the Vyasa Sutra, and the Upanishad, these three are called Prastantrayi. And every big acharya, major acharya, has written their bhasya and their commentary on these three. And this is where the various Vedantic traditions have come out, and perspectives on Vedanta have come out from these three. Now, as we go through Vachanamrut, we will find that it is a combination of all of this, all the 6 darshanas, the various bhasyas, plus very practical sadhana, including Yoga Sutra. 200 Yoga Sutras of Patanjali Rishi are also incorporated in various lines of Vachanamrut. So it is a synchronous, interconnected, interlocking set of teachings. And this is something very relevant to understand. So the relevance of Vachanamrut is that it is an intersecting, interconnecting, interlocking, interdependent in many ways with all of the scriptures that have come and the great teachings of great sages that have come before Sajanand Swami Maharaj. So, Namaskar Pratapji, good to see you. Thank you very much for joining. We're continuing our exposition on Vachanamrutam. So I promised Dr. Chetna that I would give a very in-depth exposition, and we've been trying to record these for a while. So I will just speak right through for about an hour or so, and then after that, if we want to have some conversation about it, we can have a conversation. I hope you can hear me okay, and you are muted right now. So you are muted right now.
Yeah, I just want to tell you one thing, that all of a sudden, without me knowing, the repairman had come to my house.
Not to worry. Don't worry at all.
And there I will have to get up.
Not to worry at all. This is all being. This is actually, these recordings are actually for my own Manan Chintan, but it's a way of sharing with the world, because there's a lot of misunderstanding and people just don't know about the spirituality of Sajanand Swami. And I know that you are aware of it because you've studied some of the teachings of the various gurus and all that. You're familiar with various individuals in the sampradaya, but the general public has almost no idea about it. That's why I'm trying to put it in English language, right? And I promised Dr. Chetna as a gift for her continuing birthday, that the best thing Sachin can give is the Vachanamrut. There's nothing beyond that I can give anybody, so and as a seva, right? So anyway, along those lines, we are continuing.
Happy birthday to Dr. Chetna.
Yes, her birthday was on November 12th, actually. So I think November 12th, yes. So anyway, but this is a blessing. It's a very big blessing, and this is a very advanced but very intricate subject. So the attempt is to really bring every minute aspect of it as much as Sachin can. I do want to say this, that there are thousands of lectures in Gujarati on Vachanamrut by so many sages. So and I have actually downloaded a good portion of them, from the YouTube and a lot of other places. So anyway, let's continue from where we were. The first Vachanamrut is called Akhanda Vrittinu Vachanamrut. I'm going to do a screen share here with you so you can see it. And by the way, this is a very nice website. It is called anirdesh.com, anirdesh.com. Very nicely named because Maharaj used this word Anirdesh. And this is in Gujarati. So the Vachanamrut is originally in Gujarati. It's span of 10 years, just a quick review. And we have been continuing to try to understand the very first Vachanamrut, which is so powerful. I mean, every Vachanamrut has its own power. So just a quick point that I was just to continue from where we were before, that Shriji Maharaj, meaning Sajanand Swami Maharaj, who is known as Shri Swaminarayan, but that was not his name. So that's another thing should be very clear. Swaminarayan is a 6-syllable mantra from the Vedas. Swami mantra is there and Narayan mantra is from the Vedas. And there's a lot of history of that which we will talk about later on. The actual syllables, how they were constructed, what is the Vedic meaning. There are many talks about this in YouTube also, and I will also try to present this in a certain way a little bit later on. So there should not be confusion about this word Swaminarayan. It has been associated with Sajanand Swami in the tradition, because this mantra Sajanand Swami used to chant himself. He used to speak this mantra also. That is another big historical subject. But we'll get to all that. See how we will get to that. I don't know exactly, but we'll try. Right now in this Vachanamrut, the first Vachanamrut, as a quick review, there is a very significant question which is relevant, as I mentioned last time when we talked about this, about sadhana, about sadhan, about effort. What type of efforts that are placed by a sadhaka, by a bhakta, by a mumukshu to realize God? This is the basic question. And Maharaj asked this question out of all of the innumerable sadhanas and efforts that are placed, what is the most difficult? So what is the greatest difficulty? Which one has the most difficulty? And that is Akhanda Vritti. See, this is in Gujarati. The Bhagwan Swarupma Manni Akhanda Vritti Rakvi Tethi Koi Sadhan Kathan Nathi. That the most difficult sadhana as a sadhan that a person tries to do is to maintain the vritti, the chitta vritti, the manovritti, the thoughts and feelings and bhavana and emotion and all of that in the form of God. Now, yes, last time I had begun speaking about what is meant by Bhagavanu Swarup. And so there are many meanings here, many possible meanings. Just as a quick review, one meaning is that it is referring to the past incarnations that are accepted in the Sanatana Dharma, in the Srimad Bhagavatam particularly. So remember, these talks here on Vachanamrut are going to be based on the actual teachings, viewpoint, and perspective of Sajanand Swami. I'm just trying to present it as objectively as I can. If it is an opinion or perspective that I will share, I will let you know that this is Sachin's perspective or opinion or whatever, or vision or even experience. But I want to try to present this very objectively, without biases and without organizational lenses. I can explain what they are, what the 40 organizations are talking about. That's okay. That's another subject altogether. But we want to see things objectively as much as possible. So first of all, when he's using the word Bhagavan, this in the Sanskrit language it can be used in many different ways. One meaning is that an individual who has the 6 Aishwaryas, the 6 qualities. So I talk about them in just a moment here. But those 6 qualities are called the 6 Bhagas. So Bhagavan means one who possesses those 6. That is called Bhagavan. Now, this word many times is also used just to refer to those individuals who are completely enlightened. So that is another historical way to understand this word Bhagavan. Because the word Bhagavan, the way it is used by Maharaj here, meaning Shriji Maharaj, he's using it in terms of that tattva that is Paramatma, Sakshat Paramatma, beyond Akshara Brahma, that is Parabrahma, Paramatma. He's using the word Bhagavan for that entity, which is an entity actually. It is a being, just like how we're a particular being. Bhagavan is a particular being that is talked about. Now, this is a bit different from the non-dualistic Advaitic perspective, which is also incorporated in a bit different way. But this is where Ramanujacharya's Siddhant comes, and I'm going to give those references in just a moment. But I want to just make sure that we are clear about this word Bhagavan, because the word Bhagavan, it depends how we are understanding it and how we can see it. Now, to understand that the word Bhagavan has 6 opulences, and any individual who has the following 6 opulences, qualities, can be called Bhagavan. And what are they? So these are beauty, knowledge, influence, strength, mental strength, etc. All kinds of fame, and not just like egotistical, but one who is so awakened, there's so much fame, renunciation. This is a traditional way to understand this word Bhagavan. But remember, it is not something that is used necessarily for just that Supreme Lord. In the history of the Sanatana Dharma, so many people are called Bhagavan. From this point of view, when these 6 opulences open up, that one has this Bhaga. Bhaga means 6 opulences. Very interesting. And many times, the incarnations, of course, are all called Bhagavan. So, for example, in the Bhagavad Gita, when this word Bhagavan is used, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, it doesn't say Shri Krishna Uvacha. It says Shri Bhagavan Uvacha in the Gita. So, how is that interpreted? In many ways. One can be interpreted this way, that Krishna, who is there, is possessing all these divine qualities. He's an awakened, enlightened master who has riches and opulence, not just like material riches, but rich with spiritual wisdom. That richness, fame, not fame in terms of ego, but fame that is obtained due to the enlightenment. And bodily strength, tremendous bodily and mental strength, one who is healthy and strong. See the meaning behind this. Just this word Bhagwan, we can talk about for a long time. It's so powerful. Then one who is able to influence others because of the enlightenment, not through the ego, the enlightened state, that awakened state, that Anirdesh, which is exactly this website name also. Anirdesh state is an enlightened state. And from there, the influence towards other comes. That is also meant by the word Bhagavan. Then knowledge, Gyan, one who is a Gyani, one who is absolutely living in pure vision, pure wisdom, pure openness, that kind of state. That is Gyan, that is knowledge. Then beauty, that is Saundarya. I'm explaining these 6 actually. That Saundarya is natural beauty. It is not simply a superficial wave of experience through the senses. That is also an aspect of beauty, yes. But the actual original beauty, that is the Atma and the Paramatma. That is the essence of oneself, the Satchidananda. That beauty is talked about. And Vairagya, that is renunciation. One who has tremendous renunciation, one who is unaffected by it all. When you have these 6 qualities, at their highest state, in their highest state, that is called Bhagavan. Now, is that what is meant here in Vachanamrut? And the answer is that is included in this, but that is not exactly what is meant here. It is the word Bhagavan that is used here, which I will highlight for you. This word Bhagavan that is used here is used in a tattvic point of view, that beyond Prakriti, beyond Purusha, beyond Akshara Mukta, beyond all of the great liberated beings, there is beyond all the Purushas, there is the Purushottama Bhagavan. There is the one supreme non-dual being, that is God, that is Paramatma. When we say God, I mean that's a Western term, but the word here is Aksharatit Bhagavan, Aksharatit Paramatma, Aksharatit Purushottam, Parabrahma. This is written in the Gita also. But in the Gita in chapter 15 is called Purushottama Prapti Yoga. Chapter 8 is called Akshara Brahma Yoga. Clearly, Akshar and Purushottam, the two are shown. But again, interpretations are many. We will get into all that. I'm just looking at the language right now only. Right? So when we say Bhagavan, Maharaj, from my understanding and from the contact with study with so many sages over the last many years, this word here is referring to that supreme being that has a form, that is not male or female, that is Satchidananda Vigraha. Vigraha means form. This is a Vaishnava idea. The Vaishnava traditions are bhakti tradition, and it is based on the acharyas that have interpreted the Prastantrayi, Bhagavad Gita, Upanishad, and Brahma Sutra in a way where those same scriptures are also, they can be interpreted to illustrate or to identify that there is Paramatma with form, Sakar Nishta. So you will find this throughout Vachanamrut. Sakar Nirakar is a massive subject in the Vachanamrut. It is a very tricky and intricate subject. Because what is meant by Nirakar and Sakar, these are subjects we are going to get into. Because we have to go into Advait Vedanta in the talks that I've been doing on Vivek Chudamani. Vivek Chudamani and Shankaracharya ji's teachings is a foundation to understand Vachanamrut. That is the real proper foundation. But most people don't know all those connections. And so in simple language, we will try to see the connection. But in these Vachanamrut recordings, we will really dive deep as possible into it and really see, why Sajanand Swami has emphasized Ramanujacharya. What is meant by Vishishtadvaita? Why he's even using the word Bhagavan here? Why even use this word? Why not simply say that the greatest sadhana is just to be aware, just to be in that open space of the mind, like J. Krishnamurti stuff or Buddhism and all that. He could say that, but the point he's making here, Sajanand Swami is making, is that there is, from his realization and from the acharyas, the bhakti acharyas, that there is Bhagavan, that there is God, Paramatma. This is one of the big points. This is at the very beginning of Vachanamrut, this word Bhagavan is used. So that is referring to that is Paramatma, Bhagavan, that is beyond Maya. Let's be clear about this concept. And again, there are multiple perspectives on this. So I'm just presenting here only Vachanamrut right now. And in connection, other things. That beyond Mahamaya, eternally beyond Mahamaya, and always beyond Mahamaya is Bhagavan, Purushottam, is Aksharatit Paramatma with form, and that form is like 2 hands, 2 feet, like this. It's just like head. There's a form actually. Now, somebody will easily say, this is some imaginary concept. This is the big criticism of bhakti's path. In the bhakti path, even Shankaracharya ji has said, yes, you can have form up to some point as an avlamban. Avlamban meaning support. You can have a form of Krishna, Bhagwan Ram, or you can have a small jot, or you can have so many ways of trying to meditate. Those are techniques, meditation techniques. But when you realize the truth, there is no form or any such. This is all imaginary thing. Even most teachers in Advaita Vedanta today even are going to make that claim, are going to say that this forms and all this thing is something that is part of your mind only. Because the world has forms, you've also created forms of the incarnations and of gurus and of symbols and temples and all that kind of thing. But when you realize the truth, none of these forms are there. Has that point been mentioned by Sajanand Swami? Yes, he has mentioned that also. He is actually in agreement with that too, which people don't know. Because the way it is written in Vachanamrut, he says, Maik akare rahit and divya akare sahit. See this language. Very interesting. Maik akar, the forms that have come out of Maya, because that Maya is what? It is a Shakti of Paramatma. In the Bhakti Sampradayas, including Swaminarayan Sampradaya and including the Vachanamrut, Mahamaya is described as a power of Bhagwan Purushottam. If you go to Shakti Upasana only, it is described where everything is under Mahashakti. All the incarnations, all the avatars, everything is under Mahashakti. It is not that one is right and one is wrong. It is not like that. It is a matter of perspective. Always it is a matter of perspective and realization. Whatever is spoken by the rishis in the ancient times till today is from their anubhav. It is called anubhav vani. It is not simply a repetition of others and then some imagination and then teaching someone. No. That is why the great acharyas spoke from anubhav and then they taught based on anubhav and then they gave interpretations based on anubhav. So one of the points that Sachin here really wants to really emphasize is that every word of Shri Vachanamrutam is Anubhav Vani. Anubhav of Sajanand Swami. Just as Ramakrishna Paramans, whatever he spoke in the Ramakrishna Kathamrut, in the Gospel of Ramakrishna Paramans, is his Anubhav. How beautiful that is. And actually, all of these great beings, Sajanand Swami, Ramakrishna Paramans, or whoever, Adi Jagat Guru Shankaracharya Ji, Raman Maharishi, whoever it is, Swami Ram Tirth, for example, also, amazing sage. All of them are speaking from Anubhav and they are encouraging all the listeners to move into your own Anubhav. Not simply to be stuck in just secondary knowledge or information. This point is also there in the Vachanamrut throughout, although many may not see it that way because of the tradition and just because of the ways of just accepting different beliefs that have come from this tradition. That's fine. I mean, that has its place also. But the fact is, when we consider Swaminarayan's spirituality, that cannot be considered in terms of the Gujarati language only or the Gujarati community only or simply a group of some sort. Of course not. That would be ridiculous to say that. So the spirituality, the Adhyatma, Sajanand Swami ji ka Adhyatma, wo kya hai? What is that Adhyatma of Sajanand Swami? Which is obviously, it has to be universal, universally applicable. And it has to be experientiable, that one can experience what he's talking about. This is a very advanced subject in reality. The people that are following Swaminarayan Sampradaya are doing so out of tradition. They were born into it, or they have certain things have come in tradition, and then there's certain beliefs are there, and then they have some conceptualization of it, some ideas of it, some beliefs of it, some faith around whatever it is. Fine, that's a beautiful thing. It has its own glory. What Sachin is trying to do here, by the grace of all the sages, is to open this up into the Adhyatma of Sajanand Swami that's actually there, and not be restricted into these traditions that have developed. Those traditions are great. I can talk about them. I'm quite familiar with them also. But nonetheless, one cannot be restricted by language. One cannot be restricted by group. And one certainly cannot be restricted by one particular guru and one particular path and one particular idea. That would be a massive restriction. No enlightened sage is there to restrict anybody. It is not a restriction. It is an enlightened awakening into the infinite consciousness. And then Maharaj has even talked about that infinite consciousness and so many things beyond that. Now, which sounds really crazy to say. How can you say there is something beyond the infinite? We will talk about that. It's very difficult to even explain that, but we shall try. The point is that there is a traditional way to understand these things. In Gujarati, very simple. Bhagwan ma bharoso karo, Bhagwan ni asta rakho, Bhagwan ma shraddha rakho, ane bhajan karo, kalyan thai jai. Any common villager knows this thing. May have never read it, maybe illiterate, and knows this thing. Worship God, Bhagwan ki bhakti karo, Bhagwan nu bhajan karo, naam, understand the mahima of gurus. There's so many illiterate people, even in Gujarat today, who are worshipping Krishna, worshipping Swaminarayan, worshipping Shiva, and they have bhakti inside, they have nishta inside, they have faith inside, without ever opening any scripture. And they take the names that the gurus have shown or the tradition has shown, like Namah Shivaya, or Swaminarayan mantra, or Krishna mantra, or Devi mantra, and they are living, and they live with faith. They live with faith and belief. They're not living in the head. They're living in faith. This, by the way, this kind of bhakti is also described in Vachanamrut. It is called mood bhakti. It's amazing what is described in Vachanamrut. To date, Sachin here has been studying this scripture for the last 25 years at least. I have yet to find any idea that is not covered in here, including theoretical physics, genetics, biological sciences, chemistry, medical sciences. Everything is in here in some way or another. And where all of those fields have stopped, Maharaj has started. And the simple reason for that is this word anirdesh. And this is I want to point out here. That Shriji Maharaj, see the context, see the extraordinary way he was living. I want to really emphasize this point. He had so many of these sadhus who were Puranis. These are the experts in the scriptures. And they will be reading them. The Srimad Bhagavatam, the Ved Sutras, the Vidur Niti, the Bhagavad Gita. Many different Acharyas' teachings are all present. And Maharaj would be sitting. And they're all laid out. And he is listening to them. See the quality. I want to put Vachanamrut in the right context. Where Vachanamrut was born, how it came about. Maharaj, meaning Sajanand Swami Maharaj, is sitting with hundreds of scriptures. Many times in the Sampradaya people don't talk about this. But Sachin is going to talk about it objectively and openly and bring it out as it is. Maharaj is listening to the glories of Bhagwan Sri Krishna. The Srimad Bhagavatam. He loves Srimad Bhagavatam. All Vaishnavas love Srimad Bhagavatam. Maharaj is also a Vaishnava. Let's be clear about that. In fact, he himself said, Vaishnav Amari Nath Jat. I'll explain what that means. It's not a groupism idea. That's not what it means. We'll talk about that some other time. But see the context. See the desire. He's showing a charitra that learn from every angle. Don't get restricted and fanatical and narrow-minded. He's teaching that from his own life. He has God knows how many scriptures laid in front of him. These sadhus that are in front of him, he gave Diksha to 500 sadhus and gave them Paramahansa Diksha. That's where these names came from. Gopalanand, Gunatitanand, and so many names, Brahmanand. He named all of these individuals. And those names, but it's another massive subject. Those names are all written in Bhakta Chintamani. Even if we study those names, that is a great pathway into enlightenment. So the life of Sahajanand Swami is such of absolute exploration and complete openness. And from that openness, from that vast study and listening and thinking and meditating, he was doing all that all the time. He was in a state of meditation all the time. But meditation, what kind of meditation? Listening to the scriptures with an intense contemplation. These are the qualities that he was teaching others, but he never taught anything that he didn't do himself. And this is all described in the Swaminarayan Charitra scriptures. This is not something Sachin is making up. I can prove all of this to anybody. Because that is the fact. These facts are the facts. And they have been documented very well. By the Paramahansa, his own disciples, they have been documented very well. There's a charitra of Maharaj when he is eating his dinner, eating his meals. He is so lost in the contemplation of all these great scriptures that he will say Hare, 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 Hare like this. He's just absorbed in the bliss that is coming from inside naturally. That natural opening of this bliss from inside is called Sahajanand. इसी को ही Sahajanand कहते हैं. And he's in that state. He's living in that life. See the charitra. Now, when we talk about Vachanamrut, you will notice something very interesting here. That when all of this contemplation is going on, this exposition of scriptures is going on, Bhagavad Gita is being read again and again, the 5th skand, the 10th skand of Srimad Bhagavat is read, the whole Bhagavatam is read many, many times, the vast sutras are read by these different Puranis. And Maharaj is sitting, and he's listening and absorbing, and then what will happen? Then he will say, now let's do some bhajan kirtan. So you will see two things. He had people, devotees who are sitting with instruments. And then, so this all could be going on for so many hours. For 3 or 4 hours, the exposition and the scriptures is going on. And for many other, for another 1 hour, 2 hours, so many bhajans are going on. So many kirtans are going on. That are traditional kirtans, some new ones that were created at that time. It is going on. And in the midst of all of that, there is question answer from time to time. That question answer, either the question is raised by Maharaj himself. He says in Gujarati, "Abe kirtan ban karo, baato karo." Okay, stop the kirtans for now. Let's now talk. What does this mean? It's a guidance for us of how to do adhyatmik sadhana. It's a tremendous guidance that bhajan bhakti should continue for some time. Then stop the bhajan bhakti for the time being, in the sense that the bhajans are halted. Now let's contemplate and discuss and talk. And so this Vachanamrut are these questions and answers. These discussions that were occurring amidst all of this. They are basically points where Maharaj has himself spoken on his own reflections, contemplations, his own realization, and is sharing that with others, is questioning others. The people are questioning him. This is called samvad. Samvad, like when we say Bhagwan Krishna and Arjun. Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade, Yoga Shastre. Right? This is the Bhagavad Gita at the end. This is written like this. That the discussion, the dialogue between Sri Krishna and Arjuna is a samvad. So the samvad means one awakened being, an enlightened being who is completely open and awakened, is speaking words that are teachings to those who are wanting to drink those words, wanting to hold those words. That is called samvad. That is really what is meant by Guru Shishya Sambandha. And this is what is Vachanamrut. Vachanamrut is a Guru Shishya discussion. It is a dialogue. It is an exposition. But it is done with a tremendous amount of love and respect towards Shriji Maharaj. It is not a question of hierarchy, that somebody's sitting here and somebody's above and somebody's below. It's not that attitude. Even though Maharaj is sitting on a gadi and whatever, he's in the state of a guru and all that, he doesn't consider himself above all those people that are sitting. I'll give you an incident that happened. It's a very, very real incident from Maharaj's life. Maharaj had so much glory of these sages, the devotees. What he did at one point, he's done this many times. He's taken things like, taken a big pot of water and asked each sadhu to dip their toe in the water. And then he'll take that water and drink the water. Think about this. This is called Mahima. It's called Bhagavanna Santano Mahima. He's also mentioned, he says that I am the servant of the great devotees. He's also mentioned Bhagwanna Ekantik Santacheni Charandi Raj Ame Chadaviyeche. Where is the issue of ego and all that? There's no place for ego in spirituality. None. Other than that functional, the interactional stuff that we talk about. Other than that, there's no place for it at all. And Sajanand Swami, in his own, as awakened and as amazing as he was, we'll talk about all that. The absolute humility we find in his life. You find seva and absolute humility all the way through. Nonetheless, the power that he expressed of placing thousands into samadhi, which is written in Bhakti Chintamani Prakaran 49, Samadhi Prakaran it's called. Extraordinary. The description of that, we'll have to go through it sometime. It is all written in Gujarati, it is rhymed, it's beautiful. Extraordinary power. Again, the question is, what is this power to place people in samadhi? During the time of Maharaj, what used to happen, this is how it is described. He's going into a village. See this scenario, see this thing. It is so interesting. He's going into a village and he's wearing those wooden sandals called chakdi. And hearing those sandal noises, people go into samadhi. They speak the name Swaminarayan, they go into samadhi. Maharaj has a stick, he touches somebody with a stick, goes into samadhi. It was unbelievable what was going on. This is how it is described. But here's the other interesting part. Even though whatever that samadhi was, and the spiritual tattvas that were shown in that, Maharaj did not place any importance to that samadhi. He says more significance than that nirvikalpa samadhi by placing people in samadhi. It's the kind of Aishwarya. He says Jnana samadhi is more relevant. The Jnana state is better and much more consequential than that nirvikalpa out of the body samadhi. Yes, it is possible to go out of the body and see the adhyatmic tattvas. Yes. But so see the terminology in Vachanamrut. There is called Jnana Samadhi. There is called Jnana Pralay. Then the Bhagavad Gita talks about a Jnani, who is my Atma. And then there's other terminology like Savikalpa Samadhi, Nirvikalpa Samadhi. These are technical language from the Patanjali Yoga Sutras and other places. It's very, very interesting. So what do we find here in Vachanamrut? We find that in the very first Vachanamrut, he is asking this question. Who is he asking this question to? Those who are doing sadhana. And this is the interesting part. There is a great, if we, as we really look at these words, there is a magical aspect to these words. The magical is what? He has asked about sadhana. And then he says here, see, I'll show it to you. He says here, Ane, je manushana man nivritti bhagwanna swarupma akhanda rahe che. See these two words. Akhanda rahe. Now there is no sadhana. Sadhana is finished. There's no sadhana. This is a similar idea of the pathless path thing, if you connect it into that Krishnamurti stuff. There's no path here. There's no marg here. There's nothing left to do here. There is nothing left to be done here. Then what is over here? It is prapti, it is realization. See the language, see the profound implications of these, every word in Gujarati. It is absolutely extraordinary. He says, Ane je manushana man nivritti bhagwanna swarupma akhanda rahe che. Tene tethi biji adhik prapti shastrama kahi nathi. Right here, up to this point. Kahi nathi. So he's talking about sthiti. Now we have two words. We have the word sadhana and we have the word sthiti. So what is the word sthiti referring to? Sthiti meaning a state of evolved realization that does not diminish and one does not fall back. Isko kehte hai sthiti. Esha brahmi sthiti partha nainam prapya vimuyati sthitva syam antakalepi brahma nirvanam ruchyati. This is the last shloka in chapter 2 in the Gita. The word sthiti is state of realization. It is a stage of realization. It is an evolved evolution into the awakened state, the Buddha state, the Siddha state, the Brahmic state. In Vachanamrut language, this is called Ekantik Dharmani Siddhi. In my life, in this Sachin's life, this one paragraph has been read thousands of times. Every time there is something constantly new in this. Because we are new, that's why. If the more we have Manan Chintan and the grace of all the sages and Bhagwan, new things open up all the time because we are new. It is a dynamic evolution that he's talking about here. It is not a static belief. The whole point of even asking this question about sadhana is because individuals who are doing sadhana are growing and evolving and they're playing around with their energies and they are doing different kinds of activity to try to realize the divine. So when he is using this word Bhagwan and he's saying Bhagwan nu swarup, Bhagwan na swarup ma, manya akhanda vritti rakhve, he is talking about an absorption of the antakarana into this swarup, into the Ishta Devata. This is Bhakti Marg. You will see throughout Vachanamrut, it emphasizes Bhakti Marg. And it uses Jnana Marg, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, Mantra Yoga, and Tantra Yoga as a support. Even the word Tantra is used one time in Vachanamrut. Only once it is used. Not that Maharaj didn't know about the Shiv Shakti Upasana. But he's used it exactly the way the word Tantra is even talked about. That is integration. In Garada Pratham number 17. He says, Dharma, Gnan, Vairagya and Bhakti. He said, Ek bijani apeksha che. How beautiful. That the Gnan connects with Bhakti, Bhakti connects with Vairagya, Vairagya connects with Dhyana, it connects with Gnana, it connects with Dharma. That they are interconnected, interlocked. This is it. When a teacher, when a Sadguru, when Sajanand Swami is talking about this kind of integration, that is a clear indication of an awakened state. If you see Ramakrishna Paramahansa's Gospel, you will see all of this similar kind of integration. Even Shankaracharya ji integrated so many pieces like this together. But they have emphasized their particular realization, but not damaging the other aspects also. True enlightened beings do not damage other paths, do not try to show the segregation from other paths. They show the interlinkages with all the paths. And then from there, they give their own vision. They have their own anubhav, and from that is spoken. And that's exactly what you see in Vachanamrut. You find this tremendous integration from all different paths. And from there, Maharaj is giving his own realization. He has said it himself. He said, Mari pratyaksh anubhav kareli baat છે. પ્રત્યક્ષ અનુભવમાંથી સિદ્ધ આવેલી વાત છે. Now, if Sachin is going to read this and other people are reading and just believing it and just kind of doing, is just having some kind of a traditional belief around all this, okay, that's a beginning. It's a great thing, no doubt. But that is not anubhav. The word nishta also comes. Nishta means faith. Conviction, actually it means conviction. It comes again and again in Vachanamrut. But Maharaj has also shown points in Vachanamrut where one is in anubhav. That is called Atma Sakshatkar. That is called Paramatma Sakshatkar. That is not Nishta anymore. You are in touch. There is the realization of what that Nishta is all about. So that is also discussed in that is also shown. But again, this kind of a study, it tends to be very tricky because it's not a systematic layout in that sense. We have to really go through it because remember the context. Maharaj is just speaking from his own dynamic realization. He's not going through like a teacher in a classroom. You know, it's not his Paramahansas and Sadhus wrote many systematic bhashyas and all that. That's a different matter. वो एक अलग बात है. But when he's speaking straight from in the present moment, he's speaking straight out. In this Vachanamrut, look at the time period when this is happening. He says this is night time. If you look at the very first paragraph, Ratri ne samay. Now, can you imagine Maharaj waking up in the middle of the night, calling all these devotees, say, "Hey, I'm asking you a question." The people might say, "Is this the time to ask all this question?" Think about that. What does this show? Even this first paragraph, my God, it shows that Maharaj is not bound by time. He's not bound by daytime and nighttime and the dream state and Sushupti Avastha, and he's not bound by all that thing. He's living beyond all of the factor of time, which is described also in Vachanamrut in so many places. He's not living in the realm of time even, in the psychological bondage of time. There is a physical time, but I was just listening to it this morning, Garada number 1, Garada Madhya number 1, Moha Uday Thayanu Vachanamrut. In that Vachanamrut, there's a description that Maharaj is lying down and he goes into Samadhi. And he sees all the galaxies and stars and the whole cosmic description is there. It's absolutely mind-boggling, the stuff that is written in this Vachanamrut. And then he talks about the Kshetragna, that's that Bhagavad Gita, Kshetragna Yoga. And he says, I see the Kshetragna. The Kshetragna is the knower of the Kshetra. The knower, that is the consciousness. And then he says, within that Kshetragna is Bhagavan Purushottam. That is Vishishtadvaita. We'll talk about that later. The point is that the context of Shri Vachanamrutam is extraordinary. Maharaj's personality, Maharaj's charitra is such of absolute openness. He's not stuck inside limitation. And the reason he's raising this question about sadhana, because he knows that there is difficulty in sadhana. And if you were to connect these ideas with some of the Krishnamurti stuff, the conflict between the observer and the observed, between the doer and the doing, and the internal conflict is actually embedded in this question. That is why he's saying it is the most difficult. When does something become difficult? When there is resistance. Well, we don't want to be in that resistance, right? That's the whole idea. That the controller and the control, the big idea that is talked about, that we talked about in Krishnamurti stuff, that same idea is here. But that idea is using language where Maharaj is asking the question, out of all of the sadhanas, which are innumerable, which is the most difficult to do as a doing? But see, that doing, there is still the me involved in that doing, which he does not want. So you have to go into Garada Madhya 13 Vachanamrut to understand the ego's non-presence in the absorption with the Swarup of God. And that is what is meant by here when he says, Bhagwan na Swarup ma manni akhand vritti rakhi tethi koi sadhan kathan nathi. As a sadhana, it is extremely difficult. The controller and the control. I can link here easily all the other teachers. There is a massive problem, even in the Bhagavad Gita, karma indriyani samyamya yah aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudatma mithyacharah sa uchyate. You could be controlled with the senses, but mind is running in 100 directions. Bhagwan Krishna kehte, yo sab it is mithyacharah sa uchyate. Mind is still, so Maharaj is directly talking about chitta vritti, manovritti, the mental mechanism, the mental power. And where does he want to take us? Look at the next line. That's what he's saying. Aneje manushana manni vritti bhagwan na swarupa akhanda rahe che. When the manovritti is continuously linked with Paramatma, now is there any resistance? Is there any fragmentation? Is there any pulling and tugging like in sadhana? No, sadhana is ended. The point of this question is to go beyond sadhana. If we really probe into this, as we are trying to do here, with love and affection, it's very clear. When Maharaj is saying, when he's saying Manusha, anybody with a human body, Manushana manni vritti, meaning the vritti means what? It is the cognitive function of the brain. Cognitive, emotive functions. Manovritti. The thinking ability, the thoughts that are coming, the feelings that are coming, the chitta that is holding all the memories. By the way, even on that point, that chitta, chitta, what a statement is there in Garada number 12, Pratham number 12, that the individualized chitta and the cosmic, trans-cosmic Mahat Tattva are one. What a statement that is. This is in Garada number 12 Vachanamrut. It is absolutely mind-blowing. And in fact, in that statement is so, it has the whole Advaita Vedanta embedded in that. And you can link a tremendous amount of Vedantic realization that the entire reality is inside your Antakarana, is inside the Chitta. The entire reality that has evolved out of Maya. Another subject, another whole massive subject. Right now when he's talking about manovritti, he's talking about all four aspects of the Antakarana. Man, Buddhi, Chitta and Ahankar. These are four functions of the Antakarana. Antakarana meaning inner instrument. So all four, now this is interesting, when all four are turned over at the feet of the Lord, this is bhakti path. Vachanamrut and Swaminarayan Sampradaya is bhakti sampradaya. It is a upasana sampradaya. So dharma, jnana and vairagya are a support and protection for bhakti. Please keep this in mind. Bhakti is something that Maharaj never wants to diminish. Never, not under any situation, which is the Vaishnava Parampara. Okay, many reasons. There's a lot of psychology behind it also. But that's why we have been covering the Vivek Chudamani as a foundation to understand even Vachanamrut. Because there's just too much to cover. We'll not be able to go in through all those foundational ideas here. It's just then we'll be lost in some of those things. But the point is that there is so much energy inside manovritti. Now this question about manovritti and Shakti Upasana also comes into the picture. Shakti, mind has energy. Mind has tremendous energy. Because mind has so much energy, that energy is given back to the Lord, is given back to God. This is even there in the Christian tradition. This notion of giving oneself over to the Lord is what is meant here. This notion that, oh Lord, I am yours. This is where Ramakrishna Paramahansa is saying there is a path of I and you. I am here and you are there, O Lord, and I am your servant, I am your bhakta, I am your devotee. This is the path of I and you. There's a path of only the I. There's a path of I and you, and then there's a path of just you, which is also this shown here in Vachanamrut. Bhagwan hi sarvasva hai. But Maharaj has put I and you in what way? Aksharamaham Purushottam Dasosmi Nijatmanam Brahmarupam. Oneness with Brahman and Parabhakti towards Parabrahman. Now that's the bridge between Advait Vedanta and Vishishta Advait and all the dualistic schools. He's pulled it together. And if you pull it together, you have a life filled with Ananda. How can there be any diminishing of Ananda? There is not one versus another. One is interlinked with another. And we will stop here for today. Hari Om. Gunatito Aksharam Brahma Bhagavan Purushottamah Jano Janandidam Satyam Muchyate Bhava Bandhanat Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Shri Sadguru Bhyo Namaha Om Karacharnagatam Va Kayajam Karmajam Va Shravananajam Va Manasam Va Paradam Vihitam Vihitam Va Sarvam Etat Shamasva Jai Jai Karunabde Shri Mahadeva Shambho Shri Hari.